Are you looking for GST registration for your private limited company? Then here is what you need to know all about the GST registration process, documentation and timeline. First of all, you need to know whether GST registration is applicable for your company or not. In general, if you are a supplier of taxable goods or services and your turnover or expected turnover exceeds rupees 40 lakhs or 20 lakhs respectively, then you are liable for GST registration. However, this turnover limits vary for certain specified states. Also, if you are into export or import of goods or services, then irrespective of the turnover limits, you will be liable for GST registration. But you can take voluntary GST registration in order to enjoy various benefits like utilization of the tax credit that you pay on your purchases, zero cascading effect of multiple state and central taxes unlike the earlier tax regime, legal recognition as supplier of taxable goods and services irrespective of the type of the entity, and so on. Now let's see the list of documents that are required for a private limited company to obtain the GST registration. PAN of the company and all the directors, Aadhaar of all the directors, mobile number and mail ID of all the directors, passport size photo of all the directors, list of goods and services that you are going to deal with, Incorporation certificate of the company, MOA and AOA of the company, board resolution for appointing the authorized signatory, DSC of the authorized signatory, and rental agreement and EB card of the business place. Ensure that the Aadhaar card is linked with the active mobile number. Also, ensure to have the current account checkleaf or statement. Let's get into the process of GST registration. First step is to generate the transaction reference number TRN in the GST portal. For this, we will be using your basic details along with the mobile number and mail ID of the authorized signatory. You will be receiving the OTP to the mobile number and the email ID. Once the OTPs are submitted, we will be able to generate the TRN. Using the TRN, we will be able to log in into the GST portal. Please note that whenever we log in using the TRN, you will be receiving the OTP to the respective mobile number and mail ID. Next step is to fill the application form and submit the same along with the documents that you have provided and the DSC of the authorized signatory. Aadhaar authentication will be done using the authorized signatory's detail. After completing all these, application reference number ARN will be generated, post which there might be a physical verification by the departmental officials. Then your application will be validated and GST certificate will be issued. In case any queries are being raised by the department before the approval of the GST registration, then we will have to respond to the same by providing sufficient proof. You need to make note of certain important points before taking the GST registration. Only 5 goods and 5 services can be added in a GST registration application. If you have branches in different states, then you will have to go for separate GST registration as GST is state-wise. If you have branches within the state but in different cities and places, then you might have to go for separate GST registration. If you do not have a current account while applying for the GST registration, then you will have to update the bank account details within 45 days from the issue of GST certificate along with the cancelled check leaf or the statement. If this time limit of 45 days lapses, then your GST registration will be considered for cancellation. Lastly, you need to ensure that your place of business is a commercial place. Our Kanakkupillai team is providing this GST registration service at reasonable cost of rupees 999 plus taxes subject to terms and conditions. Also be informed that you need to file your GST returns on monthly basis once your registration is completed. You need to remember that even if you do not have any sales or purchase during the month, you will still have to file nil GST returns. We have a dedicated team of experts to take care of your GST return filings. And we are offering this GST return filing services starting from Rs 500 plus taxes subject to terms and conditions. For proper guidance and advice on GST registration and return filings, please reach Kanakkupillai GST experts.